Have you ever felt an unspoken distance growing in your marriage, one that you can't quite put into words? It's not caused by arguments, betrayals, or lack of love, but rather by something more subtle, more silent, and far more powerful. As couples age, an invisible shift occurs, one that often goes unnoticed until it's too late. Health and energy levels begin to change, but not in the same way for both partners. Women, navigating the storm of menopause, often battle chronic fatigue, mood swings, and a fading desire for intimacy, not because they love their husbands any less, but because their bodies no longer respond as they once did. Meanwhile, men may continue feeling energetic, unaware of the deep exhaustion and emotional strain their wives endure. This imbalance, if left unspoken, can lead to misunderstandings, resentment, and an emotional chasm that neither partner knows how to bridge. But here's the real question. Is your marriage silently suffering from these unseen changes? And more importantly, how can you recognize and address them before the emotional gap becomes irreversible? Small blue diamond, why you need to watch this video until the end. Heavy checkmark, discover the unseen ways aging affects men and women differently, and why this can create unexpected emotional distance. Heavy checkmark, understand why women begin to withdraw, not out of rejection, but as a response to the biological and emotional toll of menopause. Heavy checkmark, learn why many husbands misinterpret their wives' struggles, leading to frustration, confusion, and an unspoken loneliness in marriage. Heavy checkmark, uncover the emotional shift that happens as women age, and why they begin prioritizing their own well-being after years of sacrifice. Heavy checkmark, find out how this silent disconnect impacts intimacy and companionship, and what both partners can do to rebuild their bond. Heavy checkmark, most importantly, discover how to evolve together rather than apart, preserving your marriage, deepening your connection, and finding new ways to love each other through the years. Aging doesn't have to mean growing apart. It can be an opportunity for a deeper, more meaningful connection. If both partners are willing to see the changes, understand them, and adapt together. Stay with me until the end of this video, because what you learn today could transform the way you see your marriage, your partner, and yourself. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I encourage you to click the subscribe button and ring the notification bell to stay updated on all our latest content. I'm eager to hear your thoughts on today's topic. If you enjoy the content, please comment 1 below. If it doesn't resonate with you, leave a 0. Your feedback is crucial as it helps me create better videos that align with your interests. Now, let's get started. The unseen changes in health and energy levels, a silent shift in marriage. One of the most profound yet often unspoken reasons behind the growing emotional and physical distance between aging couples is the gradual but undeniable shift in health and energy levels. As women age, their bodies undergo a series of biological transformations that reshape nearly every aspect of their physical and emotional well-being. The journey through menopause is not merely a clinical event, it is a deeply personal, sometimes agonizing, and frequently isolating experience that alters a woman's sense of self in ways she never expected. The hormonal fluctuations that accompany menopause create a storm of changes, many of which are beyond a woman's control. Chronic fatigue settles in like an unwelcome guest, making even the simplest tasks feel daunting. Mood swings rise and fall unpredictably, leaving her feeling emotionally fragile and misunderstood. The once vibrant sexual energy that once played a role in strengthening the bond with her husband begins to fade, not out of lack of love, but because her body no longer responds the way it once did. What used to come naturally now feels like an effort, an obligation rather than a desire. Meanwhile, men often experience aging differently. While they too go through changes, their decline in energy tends to be more gradual, allowing them to maintain many of their old routines and interests. Some men remain active, full of vitality, and eager to engage with life in the same way they always have, making them less likely to recognize the deep exhaustion and emotional strain their wives are enduring. When a woman begins to withdraw, perhaps spending more time alone, preferring rest over socializing, or hesitating to engage in intimacy, her husband may misinterpret it as rejection rather than as an inevitable response to the physical and hormonal toll of aging. This mismatch in energy levels creates an invisible chasm in the marriage. A wife who once laughed easily, participated in adventures, and took joy in shared activities may now find herself yearning for solitude, self-care, or simply a slower pace. The pressure to keep up with her husband's expectations, whether socially, emotionally, or physically, becomes an overwhelming weight on her shoulders. If her struggles are not acknowledged with empathy and understanding, resentment may quietly build, not because she no longer loves her husband, but because she feels unseen in her suffering. As time passes, this disconnect deepens. The emotional frustration of feeling misunderstood adds another layer to the fatigue she already battles daily. She may begin to avoid deep conversations, feeling that no matter how she explains her struggles, she will not be truly heard. She may withdraw from intimacy, not because she wants to, but because her body no longer responds with the same enthusiasm, leaving her feeling inadequate or guilty. The silence between her and her husband grows louder, not because of anger, but because of a quiet and unspoken sadness, a mourning for the effortless closeness they once shared. Shifting priorities, the diverging paths of aging partners. Aging is not just a physical process, it is a transformation of the mind, heart, and soul. The older a woman gets, the more she begins to reevaluate what truly matters to her. After decades of tending to the needs of others, raising children, caring for family, maintaining a household, and being an emotional pillar for her loved ones, there comes a time when she finally feels the need to turn inward. The urge to prioritize her own well-being, to rediscover herself outside of the role she has played for so long, becomes undeniable. For many women, this means seeking new experiences, personal growth, and deeper emotional fulfillment. She may feel an urge to travel, to pursue hobbies she never had time for, or to engage in meaningful conversations that nourish her soul. She may begin exploring spirituality, self-development, or creative passions that bring her joy in ways that traditional routines no longer do. Her perspective on life shifts. She no longer finds comfort in the familiar patterns of the past, but instead yearns for something more enriching, more fulfilling, more aligned with the person she is becoming. Meanwhile, many men, whether consciously or not, tend to hold tightly to the stability of old routines. They may prefer predictability over change, continuing to embrace the same habits, interests, and expectations that define their younger years. Their comfort lies in familiarity, while their wives crave newness and self-discovery. This difference in mindset creates an invisible emotional gap, one that neither partner may fully understand at first. What makes this shift especially painful is the lack of mutual acknowledgement. A woman may express excitement over a new hobby, a book she's reading, or a personal project she wants to pursue, only to be met with indifference or even dismissiveness from her husband. He may not intend to hurt her, but his failure to engage with her newfound passions leaves her feeling unappreciated and alone. In some cases, a woman may even feel that she has outgrown the dynamics of her marriage, not because she has stopped loving her husband, but because she no longer finds fulfillment in the same patterns that once felt comforting. This growing divide often goes unspoken. Instead of confronting the emotional distance directly, it manifests in subtle ways. Less frequent conversations, shorter interactions, more time spent apart, and an overall sense of quiet disconnection. She may stop making efforts to engage in discussions that feel repetitive. She may lose interest in activities that once felt obligatory but no longer bring her joy. And worst of all, she may begin to feel lonely, not in the sense of physical isolation, but in the heartbreaking realization that the person she has spent her life with no longer understands or connects with her on a meaningful level. The unspoken loneliness in marriage. Perhaps the most painful aspect of this transformation is the silent loneliness that can creep into a marriage. It is not an immediate or dramatic event, but a slow and steady erosion of emotional intimacy. The woman who once shared everything with her husband may begin to hold back, not because she wants to keep secrets, but because she no longer feels that her thoughts and feelings are fully received. She longs for deeper conversations, for shared emotional experiences, for a sense of being truly seen, but instead, she finds herself met with surface-level exchanges that leave her craving something more. If you are still watching this video, and find these lessons useful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. When a woman feels unseen, unheard, and unappreciated, her love does not disappear, but it does change. She may still care deeply for her husband, but she may no longer feel emotionally safe enough to share her innermost thoughts. She may still respect him, but she may no longer feel inspired by their connection. She may still be physically present, but her heart and mind may begin to wander elsewhere, not towards another person, but towards the life she wishes she could have, the experiences she longs to explore, and the version of herself she hopes to reclaim. This is not a loss of love, but a transformation of it, a love that has shifted from passion to companionship, from excitement to routine, from deep connection to quiet coexistence. It is a love that still exists but no longer thrives. And the saddest part is that, more often than not, neither partner knows how to bridge the growing distance between them. The path forward. Can love evolve together? This journey does not have to lead to permanent disconnection. While these shifts are inevitable, they do not have to be destructive. The key to preserving a marriage through these changes lies in mutual understanding, open communication, and a willingness to evolve together rather than apart. For a husband, this means recognizing that his wife is not the same woman she was decades ago, and that this is not a loss, but a natural and beautiful evolution. It means listening to her, truly hearing her, and embracing her growth rather than resisting it. It means stepping outside of his comfort zone to explore new experiences with her, to support her passions, and to be emotionally present in ways he may not have been before. For a wife, it means expressing her needs without fear, seeking support rather than withdrawing, and giving her husband the opportunity to grow alongside her. It means understanding that change does not have to mean loss, and that love, when nurtured with patience and effort, can take on new and even deeper forms. Love does not disappear with age, it transforms. The question is, will both partners choose to transform with it? The impact of menopause and aging on women's well-being. Aging is a journey of transformation, one that unfolds with both wisdom and challenges. As women enter their later years, they experience a profound shift, not just in their bodies, but in their emotional and mental well-being. Among the most significant and life-altering changes is menopause, a stage that marks the end of reproductive years but also ushers in an era of intense biological adjustments. For many women, menopause is not merely a medical transition. It is an emotional reckoning, a period of both liberation and struggle as their bodies navigate unpredictable shifts. The hormonal fluctuations associated with menopause create a storm within the body, affecting nearly every aspect of daily life. Estrogen and progesterone levels begin to decline, triggering a cascade of symptoms that many women are unprepared for. The once reliable energy that fueled their days begins to wane, making even simple tasks feel exhausting. Sleep disturbances become common, restless nights spent tossing and turning, waking up drenched in night sweats, or feeling an overwhelming sense of fatigue despite having spent hours in bed. The mind, once sharp and clear, may suddenly feel foggy, making concentration and memory recall difficult. Persistent fatigue settles in like an unwanted shadow, making it harder to engage in the activities that once brought joy and connection. But menopause is just one piece of the aging puzzle. The passage of time brings with it a host of physical changes that further impact a woman's well-being. Chronic health conditions, such as arthritis, osteoporosis, high blood pressure, and heart-related issues, begin to emerge, silently chipping away at vitality. Joint pain and stiffness make movement more difficult, reducing mobility and limiting the ability to stay active. The heart, which once powered through daily routines effortlessly, now requires more care and attention, forcing women to slow down and listen to their bodies in ways they never had to before. The emotional toll on relationships. These changes do not occur in isolation. They inevitably ripple into a woman's most intimate relationships, especially her marriage. The physical exhaustion caused by hormonal imbalances and chronic health issues does more than just drain a woman's energy. It alters the way she interacts with her partner. The enthusiasm she once had for shared activities may begin to fade, not because the love is gone, but because her body can no longer keep up in the same way. Simple outings that once felt effortless, long walks, vacations, intimate evenings, can now feel overwhelming, requiring an energy that feels just out of reach. For many women, this change is deeply frustrating. They do not wish to withdraw, nor do they want to feel as though they are disappointing their husbands. But the reality is, the expectations they once met so easily now feel like burdens. The guilt of not being able to participate fully in the marriage can weigh heavily on their hearts, leaving them feeling inadequate or even guilty for needing rest rather than engagement. Some women may try to push through their exhaustion, forcing themselves to mask their fatigue, only to feel even more depleted afterward. Others may gradually begin to withdraw, choosing solitude over socialization, silence over conversation, and rest over activity, leading to an emotional disconnect that neither partner fully understands. The silent struggle and the need for understanding. One of the most challenging aspects of these changes is that many women suffer in silence. They may not always have the words to describe what they are feeling, or they may fear being seen as weak or ungrateful for expressing their struggles. Society has long taught women to endure, to push through pain, to sacrifice for the sake of others. But as they age, their bodies begin to demand care and attention in a way they never have before. Ignoring these signals only leads to further exhaustion, resentment, and emotional distance. Meanwhile, their husbands may not fully grasp the extent of the changes their wives are experiencing. To the outside world, she may seem the same, perhaps a bit slower, a bit more reserved, but still the woman he has loved for years. Yet internally, she is battling a body that no longer functions as it once did, a mind that struggles with clarity, and emotions that feel more fragile than before. If this shift is met with frustration or confusion rather than empathy and support, a deep emotional chasm can form between partners, one that neither knows how to bridge. A new chapter, navigating change together. Despite these challenges, aging does not have to mean disconnection. The most important factor in navigating this transition is understanding, patience, and a willingness to evolve together. When a husband recognizes that his wife's need for rest is not rejection but a necessity, when he listens without judgment as she expresses her struggles, when he reassures her that their bond is not dependent on physical energy alone, that is when true emotional intimacy deepens. Aging may change the body, but it does not have to weaken love. Instead, it offers an opportunity to rediscover connection in new ways, through shared quiet moments, deeper conversations, and a renewed appreciation for the simple joys of companionship. Rather than mourning the past, couples who learn to embrace this new phase together can create a love that is gentler, richer, and even more profound than before. Changes in sexual desire and intimacy, navigating love and connection in later years. One of the most profound and often painfully unspoken changes that occur in long-term relationships as couples age is the gradual shift in sexual desire and intimacy. This transformation is not merely a matter of waning passion or fading attraction, but is deeply rooted in biological, emotional, and psychological changes that unfold over time. For many women, the process of aging and menopause ushers in an entirely new relationship with their own bodies, one that is not always easy to understand or embrace. The woman who once felt desired, energized, and deeply connected through physical intimacy may suddenly find herself disoriented by the shifts within her body. The desire that once came effortlessly now feels like a distant memory, leaving her feeling guilty, confused, or even ashamed as she struggles to explain her emotional and physical changes to her partner. On the other hand, many husbands, still holding on to the familiar rhythms of intimacy that once defined their relationship, may find themselves feeling frustrated, rejected, or even emotionally abandoned. The disconnect that follows can create a quiet but growing chasm between partners, one where love still exists, but the intimacy that once strengthened their bond begins to slip away, replaced by silence, misunderstanding, and unspoken sorrow. But this does not have to be the end of intimacy. Instead, it can be an opportunity for transformation, a chance to rediscover each other in new and meaningful ways. To navigate this stage of life successfully, both partners must understand, communicate, and evolve together, rather than allowing distance to take root in their marriage. The biological reality: why women experience a decline in libido. The loss of sexual desire is not a conscious decision, nor is it a sign that a woman has stopped loving or desiring her husband. Rather, it is the result of profound hormonal changes, most notably the decline of estrogen and testosterone during menopause. Estrogen, the hormone responsible for regulating vaginal lubrication, maintaining tissue elasticity, and promoting sexual sensitivity, begins to decline sharply during and after menopause. As a result, many women experience vaginal dryness, which can make intercourse uncomfortable or even painful, thinning of vaginal tissues, leading to increased irritation and discomfort, a decrease in natural arousal response, making it harder to feel physically engaged in intimacy, a loss of sexual sensation, meaning that what once felt pleasurable may now feel dull or even unpleasant. At the same time, testosterone levels, which also play a role in sexual desire, gradually diminish. The result: a woman who once experienced strong urges and physical cravings for intimacy may now find herself feeling indifferent, emotionally disconnected, or even reluctant to engage in sexual activity. But these changes do not only affect the body, they reshape the emotional landscape of a woman's life as well. The emotional and psychological impact, a shift in priorities and needs. Aging is not just about the body changing, it is about the soul evolving. As women enter their later years, many find themselves re-evaluating what truly matters to them. The years spent caring for others, fulfilling expectations, and tending to the needs of family have often left them feeling emotionally exhausted. With menopause comes a shift in focus. Rather than prioritizing external relationships, many women begin turning inward, seeking peace, self-discovery, and emotional fulfillment in ways that go beyond physical intimacy. The need for deep, meaningful connection may become more important than the act of sex itself. Instead of craving passion, they may yearn for comfort, emotional security, and a sense of being truly understood. At the same time, aging brings with it an awareness of mortality, a realization that time is passing, that youth has faded, and that life is entering a new chapter. This awakening can be both liberating and terrifying. Some women embrace it with open arms, while others struggle with feelings of loss, nostalgia, or even mourning for the version of themselves they once knew. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. If these emotions go unspoken, they can create distance between partners. A woman may hesitate to talk about her struggles, fearing that her husband will feel rejected, or that he won't understand the profound changes she is experiencing. Instead of expressing her feelings, she may withdraw, creating an emotional silence that grows deeper with time. Pain and discomfort, the unseen barrier to intimacy. For many women, the physical act of intimacy itself becomes a challenge due to painful symptoms caused by menopause and aging. What was once a pleasurable and bonding experience now feels like an ordeal, one that is easier to avoid than to endure. The discomfort may stem from vaginal atrophy, where the walls of the vagina thin and become more prone to tearing. Decreased elasticity, making penetration more painful. Pelvic floor disorders, which can lead to discomfort during intercourse. Underlying health conditions, such as arthritis, chronic pain, or cardiovascular issues, that make physical activity, including intimacy, more physically taxing. Yet, this pain is rarely spoken about. Many women suffer in silence, feeling too embarrassed or ashamed to tell their husbands that intimacy has become physically distressing. Others force themselves to endure the discomfort, not wanting to disappoint their partner, only to feel even more detached from the experience. For husbands who are unaware of these struggles, the rejection of intimacy may feel deeply personal. They may misinterpret their wife's hesitation as a lack of attraction, a loss of love, or even a sign that she no longer values the marriage. Without open communication, misunderstandings grow, leading to feelings of rejection, frustration, and even resentment. Navigating the emotional distance, a call for understanding and change. If couples wish to preserve their connection, they must learn to evolve with one another rather than growing apart. Aging does not have to mean the loss of intimacy, but it does mean that intimacy must take on new forms. For husbands, this means developing patience, empathy, and a deeper awareness of what their wife is going through. Rather than assuming withdrawal means rejection, they must be willing to listen, to learn, and to adjust their expectations. True intimacy is not just about physical closeness. It is about emotional connection, trust, and mutual understanding. For wives, it is crucial to express their struggles openly, rather than suffering in silence or assuming that their partner will intuitively understand. Men are often unaware of the physical and emotional toll that menopause takes, and only through honest conversations can they truly support their wives through this journey. Intimacy in later years does not have to disappear. It simply needs to evolve. Instead of focusing solely on sexual activity, couples can nurture intimacy in other ways. Holding hands, cuddling, and sharing affectionate gestures that reinforce love without pressure. Having deep conversations that foster emotional closeness. Exploring non-traditional forms of intimacy, such as sensual touch, massage, or simply spending quality time together. Reframing intimacy as companionship rather than obligation. Ultimately, love is not defined by youth or passion. It is defined by resilience, by the ability to stand beside one another, to adapt, and to embrace the changes that come with time. Aging may transform the way couples experience intimacy, but it does not have to diminish love. It can deepen it in ways that neither partner ever expected. The silent struggles of aging husbands, the hidden burdens they carry. While aging is often viewed through the lens of women's transformations, men too face their own battles, many of which remain unspoken. Society has long conditioned men to be strong, resilient, and unwavering, which often makes it difficult for them to acknowledge or express their struggles as they grow older. They, too, experience a gradual yet undeniable decline in energy, vitality, and physical ability, but the way they cope with these changes differs significantly from women. Many aging men strive to maintain an active lifestyle, determined to hold on to their youthful strength and endurance for as long as possible. They push through the discomfort, often refusing to slow down or adjust to their body's new limitations. However, beneath this determination lies a quiet, internal struggle, one that many of them are hesitant to admit, even to themselves. One of the most deeply personal and emotionally challenging changes men experience is the gradual decline in physical strength and stamina. The body that once moved with ease now aches after simple exertion. Endurance wanes, muscles weaken, and everyday tasks that once required no effort now demand rest and recovery. This physical transformation can be difficult for a man to accept, as his identity has often been closely tied to his physical abilities, his strength, his capability, his ability to provide and protect. Even more distressing, many men face changes in their sexual health. Erectile dysfunction, loss of libido, and decreased performance are deeply emotional struggles that strike at the very core of their masculinity. Unlike menopause, which is widely discussed and acknowledged, male aging and its effects on sexual health remain shrouded in silence, leaving many men to suffer alone, in shame or embarrassment. The emotional toll of suppressing vulnerability. Instead of talking openly about these struggles, many men suppress their emotions, believing that admitting weakness would make them less of a man. They may bottle up their frustrations, pushing their emotions deep inside, hoping that silence will protect their pride. But this silence comes at a cost. When a man withdraws emotionally, his wife senses it. She may notice the subtle changes, the quiet sighs, the distant look in his eyes, the avoidance of intimacy. But when she tries to reach out, to ask what's wrong, she is often met with deflection, irritation, or dismissal. Not because he does not want to talk, but because he does not know how. This cycle of emotional suppression and avoidance creates an unspoken tension in the marriage. The wife, sensing her husband's withdrawal but not understanding its cause, may feel ignored, neglected, or even unwanted. She may misinterpret his distance as a lack of interest in their relationship, rather than the silent battle he is fighting within himself. Over time, this lack of communication and physical disconnection erodes the closeness that once defined the marriage. The laughter that once filled the home becomes less frequent, conversations become shorter, and shared moments of affection become rare. The love still exists, but it is buried beneath layers of unspoken fears, insecurities, and misunderstandings. If left unresolved, this emotional distance can turn into resentment, not because either partner has stopped caring, but because both feel unheard, unseen, and misunderstood. Emotional independence and the shift in priorities, a necessary act of self-preservation. While men grapple with their own internal battles, women undergo a shift in focus, one that is not always easy for their husbands to understand. As they face their own health struggles, hormonal shifts, and the physical toll of aging, many women begin to prioritize self-care in a way they never have before. After spending decades nurturing, sacrificing, and putting others first, they start to realize that they, too, deserve care, attention, and healing. This change is not a rejection of their husbands or their marriages, but a necessary act of self-preservation. The years of pushing through exhaustion, of caring for children, tending to household responsibilities, and supporting their spouse, have left many women feeling emotionally depleted. Now, they are learning that self-care is not selfish, it is survival. The need for self-care and emotional balance. For many women, self-care comes in the form of gentle movement, such as yoga or walking, that allows them to connect with their bodies in a nurturing way. Others find solace in meditation, journaling, or spiritual practices that help them make peace with the changes they are experiencing. Some rekindle friendships and social connections, realizing that laughter, conversation, and shared experiences with other women bring a sense of fulfillment that they have long neglected. They seek joy in small things, an afternoon at a cafe with a friend, a peaceful moment with a book, the quiet pleasure of tending to a garden. They learn to listen to their bodies, resting when they need to, setting boundaries when necessary, and no longer feeling guilty for choosing themselves. However, this shift in focus can sometimes cause tension within the marriage. When emotional independence is misunderstood. To some husbands, this newfound independence may feel like a distancing, a pulling away from the relationship. A woman who was once fully devoted to her family and marriage is now prioritizing her own needs, and for some men, this can be unsettling. A husband may wonder, why doesn't she spend as much time with me anymore? Why does she seem more interested in her hobbies or friends than in our marriage? Why does she seem distant when we used to share everything? But what he may not realize is that his wife is not abandoning him. She is finally tending to herself. For decades, she gave everything she had to her family, her marriage, her responsibilities. And now, as she enters a new stage of life, she is learning to refill her own cup. This does not mean that she loves her husband any less. In fact, it is often the opposite. By taking care of herself, she is ensuring that she has the energy, the joy, and the emotional presence to continue being a loving and supportive partner. Bridging the gap, a new chapter of marriage. As couples navigate the changes of aging, communication, patience, and mutual understanding become more important than ever. For husbands, this means recognizing that aging affects them too, and that it is okay to express their struggles rather than suppressing them. Understanding that their wife's newfound independence is not rejection, it is a necessary act of self-care. Finding new ways to connect, whether through shared activities, meaningful conversations, or simply spending time together without pressure. For wives, this means reassuring their husbands that their love has not changed, even if their priorities have shifted. Encouraging open discussions about the challenges they both face, rather than allowing emotional distance to grow. Making space for emotional and physical intimacy in new ways, through affection, companionship, and shared experiences. Aging does not have to mean growing apart. It can mean growing together in a new and beautiful way, one that is based not on youthful passion, but on deep understanding, acceptance, and the unwavering commitment to love each other through every stage of life. When both partners recognize that change is inevitable, but love is a choice, they can embrace this new chapter of marriage with open hearts, deeper connection, and a renewed sense of appreciation for one another. Evolving social circles and support networks. The changing landscape of female friendships. As women enter this transformative stage of life, they often experience profound shifts in their social relationships and in how they choose to spend their time. While romantic partnerships remain important, female friendships take on a deeper significance, becoming a lifeline of emotional support, shared understanding, and personal growth. For decades, a woman's identity may have been rooted in her role as a wife, mother, or caretaker, but as she grows older, she begins to redefine herself beyond those roles. This often leads to a renewed appreciation for friendships with other women, especially those who are navigating similar life changes, from menopause and retirement to evolving family dynamics and shifting personal priorities. These friendships offer something uniquely valuable: a sense of belonging, knowing that others understand the emotional and physical changes they are experiencing. Emotional validation, the comfort of being able to express frustrations, fears, and hopes without judgment. Shared laughter and joy, an essential ingredient for maintaining a positive outlook on life. Encouragement and inspiration, friends who remind them of their worth, their potential, and their ability to embrace new adventures. For many women, these connections become an emotional pillar, providing a depth of support that sometimes feels missing in their marriage. While husbands may offer companionship and love, they do not always relate to or fully understand the experiences of aging from a woman's perspective. Female friendships fill this gap, creating a sanctuary where women feel truly heard, seen, and supported. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment number 3 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Reassess household duties. Are tasks divided fairly? If one partner is taking on too much, rebalancing responsibilities can ease emotional strain. Communicate needs openly. If a wife feels exhausted from handling all domestic tasks, or a husband feels he is carrying certain burdens alone, expressing concerns before frustration builds up is essential. Seek external support when needed. If household chores become overwhelming, considering hiring occasional help or delegating tasks can reduce stress and maintain harmony. A marriage thrives when both partners feel appreciated, supported, and valued, and a fair division of responsibilities plays a significant role in sustaining that balance. Seeking professional guidance when necessary. Despite best efforts, some couples find themselves struggling to reconnect, especially when unresolved conflicts have built up over time. Seeking professional help is not a sign of failure, it is a sign of commitment. Couples therapy or counseling can provide tools for better communication, helping both partners express their needs without judgment or defensiveness. Guidance on handling intimacy concerns, addressing both emotional and physical intimacy in a way that makes both partners feel valued. Support in managing long-term expectations, helping couples navigate the complex emotions of aging, changing priorities, and evolving relationship dynamics. Many couples find that therapy strengthens their marriage, helping them rebuild trust, understanding, and connection in ways they never imagined. Embracing the journey together. Aging does not have to mean growing apart. It can be a beautiful opportunity to rediscover each other in new and meaningful ways. While challenges will arise, couples who choose to evolve together, rather than drift apart, will find their relationship deepening with age. Love is not just about youth, passion, or shared history. It is about choosing each other, day after day, even as life changes. By prioritizing understanding, shared experiences, and open communication, couples can transform the later years into a time of growth, joy, and deeper emotional connection. Now that we've explored the silent shifts that happen in marriage as we age, the changes in health, energy, emotional needs, and intimacy, what have you learned from this discussion? Have you recognized any of these patterns in your own relationship or in those around you? More importantly, what is one thing you'll take away from this video and bring into practice in your own life? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your insights. At the end of the day, love doesn't disappear with time, it transforms. The question is, will you and your partner choose to evolve together, or will you allow these silent changes to create distance? If you found this video helpful, please take a moment to leave a comment below. Your experiences and perspectives could help others going through the same journey. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more thought-provoking discussions on relationships, aging, and emotional well-being. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Waving hand red heart.